Hello and welcome to the Infinite Escape Room Pubisode. You join us having recently escaped from the AliExpress ISS as we enter the ISS Eisley Cantina. There's a alien band in the background doing some cool jazz with some brass band instruments they found from, I guess, orbital wreckage. Then there's an extended cut version of that, which is quite bad, with a singer added, which is a bit strange. But anyway, we're here. We're going to have a lovely chat. We're going to talk to our guests, Corey and Helena, about what they've got going on in their cool project. We're going to talk about the room we just did, and then we'll be finishing off with a bit of a natter. First, let me go up to the alien space bar, to the 12-armed barman with thumbs for eyes, and get the order. What's everybody drinking? Helena, what can I get you?
Just some juice.
Just some juice. Just some juice.
Yeah.
Free juice.
I'm
Also, I didn't
designated
drive you to
driver.
wine earlier then.
I know.
Okay, Helena for the juice. Corey, what can I get for you?
This evening, I am drinking a Talisker 10-year-old single malt.
Are you, though?
As far as the listeners are aware.
The surprise on that one, just neck the whole thing. The surprise on that one was muted slightly earlier by Corey very stealthily pouring himself one and then revealing that he'd filled it with juice so that he wouldn't be slammed for some driving later.
Yeah, I have to drive. So I am drinking the freshest of apple juice.
This is the point we realise it's a double bluff and he has been slamming the whiskey.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
This is just the alibi. Oh, yeah, this is juice officer.
I'll just cycle my way to the stakeout. I was going to switch my camera off, replace my chair with my bike, and then sit on my bike. So when you guys came back, I was mounted up staring at the camera. But I realised that would have been way too much effort.
Oh, that's so worth it.
Yeah. Would have been hilarious. This chair weighs a ton, and that bike would need to do a 45-point turn to turn around.
And you don't want to muck up your well-tousled bed either.
That's very true.
True.
Jamie, what can I get for you, mate?
You can get me. I'm drinking, once again, from the Hive Mind meadery. It's a bottle of their small batch Hiraeth mead, which is a smaller bottle than I'm used to, which means it's going to go down even faster. But it's the purest form of mead. Literally ingredients, honey, water, and yeast. Done. Nothing else. But yeah,
Mixed together or just kind of like, chunks?
Well, once you shake it up, then it all blends in fine. But yeah,
Ooh, lovely.
It's got heather honey in it, so it's got a stronger flavor to it. It's very nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, I should have had a backup for when this one eventually goes in the next 20 minutes, but this is all I got before Christmas. I've been on a no mead buying clause for the past 4 weeks.
You're the only person I know who has to go on mead buying embargoes.
I'm hoping I
I'm the
get
same
enough
for
for
whiskey,
Christmas
to be fair.
to last me
Yeah.
for the next 6 months, but we'll see.
I feel like as an adult, the only options for presents are socks, electronics, or alcohol.
Yeah.
So I'm not allowed to buy whiskey in the run-up to Christmas
What about
because
soap?
I still have like 12 bottles under here.
So you buy you buy one kilogram bar at the beginning of the year, and then at the beginning of next year you buy another kilogram bar.
You get gifted them.
Why would somebody gift me kilogram
Lynx
bars of soap?
deodorant set.
Because I think, obviously, so people give me soaps and smelly things.
Yeah, maybe that's a reflection on you and not the gift giver. I'm kind of frustrated that we gave away the apple juice plot because I could have been swigging this out of the bottle and people would have just thought, my goodness, that guy is a champ.
Oh, don't worry. We'll just cleverly cut it in together. You're like, I'm drinking this whiskey, and then cut to 10 minutes later with your neck in it. Corey
And now
died
it's
on
time
the
for
way
Peter
home.
Piper and all his Pexy fucking pickled peppers. Yeah. And I am, as ever, Mike, and I'm drinking a mead as well, actually. I'm drinking a ginger mead that I picked up from a castle, because that's the way you buy meads normally. Jack Rat's ginger mead. It's just very nice. I'll be honest with you, it's just tastes like your standard ginger mead with a little bit of ginger wine mixed in, which is almost definitely what it actually is. But it's very, very drinkable, which is lovely because it's 3:45 in the afternoon. So yes, a nice little mead sleep later.
Yeah, I saw a recipe that uses, I think, dark rum and ginger mead that I'll send across. It looks very nice. I can't stand rum, but it looks good if you're into rum.
I do need something to use up some rum because I have some gunpowder rum and that stuff is absolute paint stripper.
Well, yeah, I'll pop it across and see what you think.
Thank you. My tooth enamel will thank you.
You can also make, you can put rum into like gingerbreads and it makes them like super soft, and if you put enough baking powder in, it will make them puff up and they end up like super soft, super gooey, but still
rum
gingerbread,
cookies.
still. Yeah, I just do it because my grandma used to do it.
That's such a nice... Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I never even
Like
thought
I
about
put
that.
more rum than
It
ingredients,
gives-
to be honest.
especially if it's a spiced rum as well, you don't really notice that it's rum, but just the alcohol in it makes the baking soda go like insane.
Oh, cool.
Like,
I mean, because gunpowder rum's about 60% proof. So, yeah, that's going to...
if you don't like an alcohol, find a way to
Yeah,
bake
your
with
insides
it.
are fat.
The only man who's gone blind by eating cookies.
Officer, I swear to God, I've just had 3 gingerbread men. I really didn't mean to wee on that vicar. So we are joined by Corey and Helena, who are coming to us from, well, was that from the Escapuzzled pod blog, Blodcast?
Podcast. I like that.
Blood class.
Blodcast. Only the finest of warriors. But of course, you know, they're both sort of, you know, professionals in their right, have all sorts of things going on. We've been on their show previously and they did a quickfire section with us, which they then came to regret over the following 2 hours because the recording involved John, who doesn't so much have sort of a battery of Shaggy Dog stories as the Battersea Dog Home of Shaggy Dog stories in his arsenal. So we've got some quickfire questions prepared for you, just to break the ice, just to smooth things after, of course, all the upset of the previous 2 rooms we've just recorded. So, both of you, are you ready?
Yeah.
I've got my egg timer.
Oh, go on.
Okay, toast or bread?
Toast.
Toast.
Okay, that was easy. Custard cream or nude with mince pies?
Mm,
Green.
custard cream. Yeah.
Custard cream.
Wait, what was the second?
I
Oh, sorry,
don't
no,
like either.
sorry, custard, comma, cream or nude with mince pies. What do you have?
What's
What do you have with mince
nude?
pies? Just a mince pie.
Oh, custard cream.
Oh,
But in the nude.
right. I thought Mike was
Depends what
offering
time
to
of
get
day it
naked and feed us mince pies because
Well,
that option,
Call back from earlier when he was eating a mince pie. This is all tied in.
I was naked from like here down. Got a little bit of shirt on.
not even the top half,
you know-
literally from the shoulders.
You know, weirdly, we said the exact same thing on last month's recording.
It's for the acoustics. Works better. Come on, time's ticking. So, is it custard cream
Custard
or
cream.
just on their own?
custard cream.
Custard and cream with
Yeah.
mince pie.
I'm
Nice.
not a fan of mince pies, so I'm leaving said mince pie, unfortunately.
Fair enough. So, the ultimate nude mince pie, there's no pie there to be
Yeah.
seen.
Just the custard.
Just the custard. Lovely pint of custard. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck? A woodchuck could chuck wood.
7.
9.
7 and 9. Thank you very much. Cool. There we go. See, that's
That's how you do a
That's
quick fire.
how you do quick fire questions. We've still got a lot of sand in the top of the bulb of this.
Come on.
That was the quick
We've
fire
got like
questions.
an hour and 57 minutes. To...
Yeah.
Just hold music now for the rest of the remainder of the time.
So, Jamie, you had some actual questions.
Yes, I've got actual questions. These aren't quick
You want
fires, so
quicker
take
expanded?
as long as you want. This is fine.
Yeah, these are the egg timer has gone away.
Yes.
One word answers. Makes for great podcast listening.
Yeah, one for you first, Corey. So you've done professional magic, both close up, distant, and I don't know, via the ether. I don't know if you've summoned anything.
Through a sniper scope. Distant close-up magic.
Is this your card?
And bang, his head is gone.
But yeah, like obviously Neil Patrick Harris is like the most famous escape room magician combo. Like, what do you think is there a link between magic and that kind of spectacle and escape rooms? Like,
Yes.
do you think that there's a connection there for you?
Yeah, 100%. I think obviously the creative side of both of them plays a massive part, certainly for me. And I think magic in itself is a puzzle. It's like you're essentially offering the person a puzzle to try and solve, which they then can't solve because most people are idiots. That was really mean.
So good magic is like the opposite of a good escape room. You don't want people to solve the magic, so you can go, look how clever I am.
Not necessarily. I think one of the things about magic is sometimes the most simple things create the best magical moments, and they're not always the most deceiving or the most clever tricks. For me especially, I think just creating some sort of magical memory and like suspense of disbelief is the main thing, which I think is also what people are looking to do when they're creating escape rooms, is that suspense of disbelief and getting away from their normal life.
Is it about the reveal? Because both Magic and escape rooms have that kind of thing of like, with Magic, it's the reveal of like, aha, and actually the penny was in your ear all along. Whereas with escape rooms, it's like, aha, like the answer was in front of you the whole time, and that kind of like aha moment.
Yeah, it's like a multitude of aha moments. I feel like good escape rooms have a good amount of aha moments. And obviously the build up to that is equally important, i.e. the puzzles. But the aha moments are what people are going to remember in both instances. Like nobody's remembering the math puzzle that they did to get through the door that swirled as it opened and sunk into a wall and steam came through. Like nobody's remembering the fact that they did Pythagoras' theorem. Oh, yeah. I will, and I'll bring it up on every episode, complaining about it.
Take math out of your escape rooms.
This is
we asked for geography, and we got geography in last week's episode, and I complained the entire time. So I apologize. Anyway. But yeah, I do think Magic and escape rooms have an overlap somewhat, and I think it is that sort of curiosity and puzzle side of things. And if Neil Patrick Harris is listening, please join us on the podcast. We have tried many a time to get in touch with Neil to get him on the podcast via various different methods.
He's
which
busy
is ominous.
He's busy with other escape room podcasts that we
incredibly busy guy. Yeah,
it's an interesting thing, that a trend that you see where like it's performers and sort of theatre folk and magicians, like they seem to be drawn to escape rooms and puzzle making, and I wonder if it's that sense of giving people that moment that ties it in between performance and magic and puzzle making.
Yeah, and I think the performative nature of escape rooms, obviously more so now than previously, because previous escape rooms were just, you have these padlocks, please escape. Whereas now it is almost like you're in a live show or a live video game and you're trying to escape and go through these different tasks. And that's the same with Magic. It's just a big performance of aha moments to get you to your destination, which is hopefully fun and not an absolutely horrendous magic trick.
So we're leading on to that, Helena. So you're a GM, yeah?
I'm an ex-GM.
I'm
no longer a GM.
A veteran.
A veteran.
Veteran. I mean, you weren't there, man. You weren't there. Did you notice that so the expectations of people had gone from, I just want to solve some puzzles, to I need an almost theatrical experience?
Yeah, that also changed the way that I wrote games and how we as a business changed how we were going to structure our rooms. So when I first started at Escape Room Store, we had Mr. Bardell's Study and Lab Heist. Mr. Bardell's Study now, so he will be leaving us, I think, pretty soon. So yeah, I've changed the way that we write games and also perform games. So we've gone from Mr. Bardell's Study, which is like a very basic game. It is, but I love it. I love it so much. It's now retro. It's all it's all lock based, but I have a little bit of my heart came from that. And then we moved on to Lab, and it was when escape rooms started to become a bit more magical and a bit more techy, and it's got like smoke and lasers and the floor lights up, and it's all like, it's quite intense while you're playing this game. And there's like sirens and stuff going on. And then we move on to the magnum opus, which is Lily and Lumley. And that is a magic show. It is full of tech. It's full of magic doors, just really interesting ways of unlocking things and processing things. Like when we wrote that game, we actively thought about how do we remove locks from it and make it a lot more like, oh my God, that's just open by itself. And so the guy that also wrote that game and launched that game, he is a magician. He is a theatre person. So he knows.
He is currently playing the role of a Del Boy in Only Fools and Horses the musical.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
That
Yeah,
guy used
Mr.
to be my
Sandlot.
boss.
Nice.
That's very cool.
Which is very cool.
It's very cool. He's very. I went and saw it. It was very good. Really recommend. It is on Tour 3 2025. So if you want to go and see Only Fools and Horses,
I would like to see it. I was convinced you were going to say Mr. Mistopheles, or whatever his name is. From Cats.
He makes a very good Del Boy. I'm really proud of him.
Oh, nice.
He basically is very good friends with somebody who makes set pieces for theatre and also understands tech behind theatre. So we changed the way, like, we did lighting cues, and everything's written from a theatre show sheet, essentially. So it's at this point, this audio cue goes, this light cue goes, and I think that's the way that escape rooms have like started to go, is into theatre, into you are going to a show. You are going to turn up and you are going to have a show, rather than let's go and get locked in a room and do a bunch of puzzles because they're dead hard and we might get out with some time raining. Instead, you go for experience like we do. I love going to a craft escape room.
I'm so with you on that. I'm so glad there's somebody else who doesn't get angry.
Yeah, let's go with theatrically
Not at
crap
all.
and not actually crap.
Yeah, and like their puzzles are good, but they haven't taken like the next step in the generation of what escape rooms are going to be or are currently being written to be. They are still, this is your storyline, you're going to work through these puzzles, but then there's the other ones that are more immersive experience, and there is a sense of puzzle, but also a bit of live action, a bit of LARPings in there, a bit of D&D, and like all of these people that love games have like came together to make these incredible games to do.
Very interesting. The future of escape rooms is like tech and theatre advancements. Go ahead.
So it's almost sounds like that when you're designing these kinds of rooms now, it's you base it around like the moment or the moments. Like I want them to see this, I want them to feel this, I want to experience this. It all hinges around that, and then like the puzzles are almost sort of complementary, but rarely like the main focus anymore. It's immersive theatre with some brain scratchers.
Yeah.
One thing that really good escape rooms are doing is putting the experience of the customer first before everything else, which I think is the one thing that sets lots of escape rooms apart, because you can have the best set design, you can have the best puzzles, but if it's not a great overall experience, the customer's going to remember that over anything. Whereas even if it's the worst room in the world, but you've got a great GM and they're super lively and there's a few magical moments, it could be the best escape room in the world.
It's like vibes being kind of the...
Yeah, good vibes only.
Some escape rooms, high run vibes.
It is. I wonder if that's why so many people who are performing nature end up kind of gravitating towards them, because it is one of those very few places where you can, in a professional context, put on a bit of a performance, entertain people.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I suppose, you're absolutely right. I think some of the best and most memorable escape rooms I've done have been not necessarily the ones with the cleverest puzzles or the niftiest kind of tech. It's been the ones where I've come away going, oh, that felt fun. That felt good. It's that quote that's often misattributed to Maya Angelou, isn't it? It's like they won't remember what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. It's that kind of, it's the feeling that you emerge with. And there's this whole thread at the moment, isn't there, about what's it called? The experience-based economy. So obviously things like those Instagram spots that sort of crop up around.
Yeah, like selfie facilities.
Yeah, which it seems absolutely
selfie
insane.
museums, that's what it is.
Yeah, it seems, but there's also lots of immersive art experiences. I mean, anybody's familiar with Punch Drunk and their immersive theatre and stuff?
Yeah.
Which is just the fucking best.
Phenomenal.
What is it now? So it changed when we were in London.
They've got
So it wasn't, is it
Viola's
Viola's
room at the moment,
room?
isn't it?
Viola's room, yeah. And it used to be Burnt City.
That was
Oh,
at
that was
Burnt
so good.
City.
They've got stuff in New York. They've got stuff in Shanghai. Like, it's just absurd.
But Mask of the Red Death is one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life. That was astounding. But it's that kind of the rise of the experience base.
I think it's why the likes of horror escape games are tending to be at the top of Turbica, because there is no feeling like fear in terms of sort of being memorable. It's why we do theme parks. It's why we do horror films. It's why we do scare mazes. It creates a feeling that you can't replicate in any other way bar fear. And I think that's why people in those escape room environments are enjoying it and remembering it so much. And then afterwards, it's easier to go, oh yeah, that was phenomenal. Because you have those feelings, as opposed to being like, oh yeah, what was that puzzle again?
It would be interesting then to find an escape room or an escape experience or something like that that made you feel some other primal feeling. Like there's I've played a couple of at-home escape games that you come at the end of it and you're like, I just feel really happy. I feel joyful. So an escape room that just makes you feel utterly sad, but you still enjoy it.
I wonder where
Mike's immediately thinking sex.
I was immediately thinking lust. The Lost-based escape room.
We're only one drink in.
And I just
escape the red room.
How did an escape room make you feel? Horny.
Yeah, the cheeks have gone all rosy.
If you want a horny game, I can recommend a horny game.
Oh, please
yes,
do.
Please.
Okay. So it is
What?
I know. It is a bondage
Let's
room.
rewind a second.
It's a bondage room they're in Gravesend. Hang on.
Is it really an escape room or is it just a bondage?
No. Don't worry. It's a real escape room.
Escape my house.
Oh, fuck me. Is this Riddled, the adult-only sex dungeon-themed escape room?
Yeah. So I think
Road trip.
If you Googled sex dungeon.
Starting to wish I'd done an incognito mode. Not
Now
gonna
you
lie.
see why Mike is always unclothed from the waist down for moments like this.
So it's called Riddled, and it's by the Panic Room, Gravesend. It's very interesting. There is black lights involved. I really recommend it. Yep.
Sold.
Mike's going to be adding to the puzzles on the walls.
So that's the only way.
Here's a pig pen alphabet written entirely in jizz.
So there you go. There's your last stream, Mike.
I think on a different emotion though, I do think like a comedy based room or something that really makes you laugh would be incredibly interesting, but only if it does it.
No.
Only if it does it in a good way. If it's forceful comedy that's like forcing you to laugh, I don't find that kind of shit funny anyway. Like some sketch shows and things like that, just not a fan because it's like trying too hard to make you laugh. But if it's like genuinely comedically hilarious, which would obviously be individual specific, I think would be a lot of fun. Like there's a room in America that takes all of the tropes of escape rooms and puts them into a room, which obviously for anybody who's an escape room enthusiast is absolutely hilarious.
Meta.
I would love it. But Helena, what's your rebuttal to that? Because like your head shake was so like adamant.
Very fun 360.
Like an owl.
I've just had no interest in a comedy escape room. I've done them. I think that's why. And I haven't done very good ones.
Oh.
The Joker or the Fairground or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's meant to be funny and it's meant to be endearing. And I never felt those feelings.
Oh, where funny is the theme. I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've done the Control Alt escape rooms in Margate, and they're very funny, but they don't ostensibly set out to be funny. They're just really funny because of the way that they do it.
Yeah.
Like it's all...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's more what I meant. I didn't mean like a funny themed escape room. I just meant escape
Just
room
one that is funny.
Conveyed
That's what
the
I
emotions.
said. And sorry, that's what I thought you meant when you said that. I was like,
Okay.
absolutely not. Give it a bit, Corey.
Yeah, it's just a really shit comedian in the room. He was.
Yeah, would you do like the Alan Carr escape room or something?
God.
Like themed around his most
That one
famous
seems okay,
jokes. Okay, actually, I would do that room.
I did one in London that was Lady Chastity's Reserve. That was and it's basically it's a supernatural carry-on film in an escape room. The whole point of it was this woman had died. You're in her living room and you're trying to unlock a bottle of wine that she kept for special occasions. And as you go through the game, you learn that she got about a bit. The entire room is risque as hell. Innuendo from every pore, and at some point, the corpse of the woman appears and starts speaking to you, chastising you. And then when you finish the game, you get to keep the bottle of wine. But like the entire thing is it's very adult, very risque. And yeah, I spent the entire time with it giggling like a loon. It's since closed down, I think.
Oh.
Lady Chastity's Reserve. It was a very drunk night out in London that day, I can tell you. But yeah.
That's another feeling that I think would be fun to play with in an escape room is the feeling of being intoxicated.
I've done that.
Which obviously you guys have done that pub themed escape room, which sounds sensational.
Yeah, Control Alt Escapes Tavern is excellent. It's also a licensed pub, and John and I did it after a day on the piss. And we got more pissed while we did the room. It was fabulous. We had a lovely night.
Where is that?
And that's Margate.
Oh, okay.
We're not endorsed by Control Alt Escape, but they are lovely people. And they do some wonderful, weird shit. And 10 out of 10 would recommend.
I love it. Speaking of weird shit, when you've seen people do like sort of the rooms you've designed, what's the wildest player you've seen? Like,
Me running a game.
mm-hmm.
I can't say that I've had like insanely bad stuff. We've had like somebody just snap in the middle of a room and go, "Oh my god, I can't believe you've brought that up from after all this time," and then half of the party left. And we all sat in the office like, "Oh no, what do we do now?" And then thankfully the other part of their party also left, so we never had to speak to them. It was great.
Hooray!
And they paid in advance. Even better. Early lunch.
Oh my goodness, imagine if that was your ploy just to get out of paying for escape rooms. Everyone you're going to, you're like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you brought up Dave from 6 years ago. He stole him out." And they're like, "I'm going to go sort this out. I'll come back and pay later."
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And I'll do that in my next escape room. Just halfway through, just go to my wife. "You're just like your mother." "It's okay, play along.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
I heard it on a podcast. Just play along."
But Laura is just like her mother.
Full computer towers hitting the deck, which was pretty awful. Like they were messing around with it. Like, do you know the old style computer tower?
Mm-hmm.
And they pushed it off the desk, and I just watched it as it smashed all over the floor. Thankfully, we did see that coming, and we had a backup laptop, so that quickly went into play. But it was a bit of a, oh my god, it actually happened moment. We actually did.
And this is why everything is now bolted to the desk, the floor, the wall, the ceiling.
Yeah.
In case the Luton tribe come in and have a go.
The Luton tribe was in that day. Yeah, and then we've had it's just silly. There's nothing terrible that's ever happened. Like kids smashing stuff. They obviously didn't mean to. They've dropped it. They've smashed and like basically are trying to hide it behind a big desk that I have cameras on.
Timmy, I can see you. Don't bother.
Yeah. Like,
This
thank
is
you
Santa.
so much.
I'm going to shit in your stocking and then I'll fuck your dog.
Oh, Santa's from Luton as well.
Only if it's a Labrador. For those that have tuned into this episode randomly and not listened to the previous one.
There's a lot of dog fucking in the Infinite Escape Room.
If you're like me and Infinite Escapes just gets thrown out as Pubisodes, I'm sorry.
Well, they've made it this far into the Pubisode, so they're already regretting the decision.
You're already strapped in, so buckle up, soldier.
We should move on to another question.
Yes.
We've got some very important ones. Okay, so we've got some questions about like Escapuzzled as well, but just want to sort of ask you guys about you guys as well.
Oh, that boring shit.
Which is also interesting. So, if Neil Patrick Harris, because who else would, gave you £100,000 to open an escape room, what would you theme it as, and what would be the hook?
Okay.
I might actually be in this book. I already have several ideas written down. Note, this is my magic notebook. Oh no, this is
a pigeon just flew out of it. No, a dove.
So obviously my background other than this is obviously magic, and I used to do a lot of video game streaming. So one of my other hobbies is playing video games, and one of which that I thoroughly enjoyed playing was called Phasmophobia, which is like a ghost hunting game, which if you played it, you know it. If you haven't, essentially you are given set equipment to go into a building, investigate the paranormal, figure out what type of ghost you've got, and then you exercise said ghost. So I thought it would be fun to put that into an escape room where you're not actually trying to escape per se, but you're doing puzzles to unlock equipment, and that equipment then allows you to figure out what the ghost is. And once you figured out what the ghost is, you then have to figure out how to exercise it, and that is how you then escape said room. But obviously, one of the core components of any escape room that hasn't really been figured out well at the minute is replayability. Whereas this, because of different types of ghosts and different types of equipment and different types of scenario for exorcisms, allows for replayability.
Bust ghosters.
Bust ghosters? That sounds like one of the lust rooms.
Lust busters.
Busted makes me feel good.
Helena, how about yourself?
I just want to run escape room. That'd be really easy.
What's the theme? Escape room.
Escape room. No, I think my brain is constantly on this is a fun puzzle. I don't write full escape rooms anymore. I like build off something that I've already done. For an escape room in general, I would like a Fort Boyard. Is it Fort Boyard?
Yeah,
Fort
yeah,
Boyard. I would like to turn that into the escape room because one of our first players actually did that. Not players, podcasts did that.
They didn't actually do that.
No, they didn't actually
They
do that.
suggested it.
They suggested it, and ever since then, my brain goes, I want tigers. But
And pandas.
and
I was getting a real
pandas,
vibe of wanting to pet a panda.
I'm really good animal person. If it's friend shaped, why not friend?
True.
So if I could have a friendly tiger, that'd be lovely. And essentially just have like a crazy Jungle Book version of an escape room. I have no idea what the puzzles will be, but they will be animal shaped, surely. But
Can you hug them in just the right way? What is the correct
yeah,
sequence
that
of
is
hugs?
how you get through that escape room, I think, is you have to pet
Figure
and
out what
such.
to feed the lion before it mauls you to death.
Yeah.
Good luck, have fun.
We've asked that question so many times and no one's ever asked us. So pure panic is what you do.
Yeah.
And I did notice, Helena, when Mike said if Neil Patrick Harris gave you £100,000, your face lit up, and then he said to do an escape room, you went, oh. Like, so what was it before that? If he just gave you 100 grand,
Just
what would be?
I mean, if we could just see
Say
Neil
that.
Patrick Harris, that would be lovely. And then I actually had to think.
We mentioned him, I think Corey mentioned him earlier, and you kind of made a sort of like, oh, la, sir, sort of flapping motion.
I love that man.
She is a very big fan of Neil
I'm
Patrick
more
Harris.
annoyed because
Yeah.
Corey met him and didn't
Oh, yeah.
then call me and say, I have Neil Patrick Harris. There you go, Helena.
Well, that's taken.
Back of a van.
We're taking him to Luton.
So I just got, well, obviously he was up in Fringe, he was running a show, and I just got a message saying,
Yeah, nothing
I've
important.
just met Neil Patrick. Sorry, he was doing an amazing magic show with a really amazing magician, Tom Bolton. There you go. We did the Fringe. Is that what you
Okay.
needed?
Thanks.
And Neil Patrick Harris was there. And I got a message, and he didn't instantly answer a phone call. So, really,
Because I was getting heavily intoxicated.
yes,
Bless you.
he would.
With Neil Patrick Harris.
With
At some
the
point, yes.
Back slaps, handshakes, a big Neil Patrick Harris hug. You're like the son I never had.
Recorded a
You're my
podcast
boy,
together.
my baby boy, Corey.
I'm sure in reality that interaction was, oh, do you want to come on a podcast?
Hey, very much so. I frantically was like, hi, Neil. Obviously, I run an escape room podcast, and we'd love to have you on at some point. He was like, yes. Look into it.
See, that's the interaction that was in Corey's head. What actually happened was that the words left his mouth and he just went, can I smell you? No.
And Neil Patrick Harris was like, that's a lot of jizz.
Like,
Are you okay?
Have you
A
been
normal
to that
man will be
escape room down
dehydrated
New
from
Market?
that amount.
Is this big then? Yeah, and I immediately realized that was not the time nor the place to be like, here is an idea. I immediately regretted like bombarding him.
so hopefully, not
it
Corey
happened.
can meet him again,
So sorry, Neil.
and we can apologise.
We know that Neil is an avid listener, so he appreciates it.
Oh my god, is he actually?
He has actually listened. We know he's listened to the show because he was on Escape This podcast,
Shit.
Oh, yeah.
and he described us as it's not like a shower of fucks or something, isn't it? No,
I think he said
that.
he
What was he saying? I can't remember.
He appreciated how unprepared we were, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
It was the most
Sounds about
diplomatic
right.
way of saying that if you guys could be less professional, it would be impossible. Like, it's just.
Like, did he record with you guys, or did you just listen?
I think he just listens. I think he's just like. I think man just likes an escape room podcast,
Oh, bless him.
but not so much that it'll be on ours.
Oh my
No.
God.
Okay, so Corey, Helena, we've been asking you about yourselves because, frankly, we're super interested in who you are because you're lovely people. But we came across, well, you came across us. We came across you through Escapuzzled, your broadcast Blodcast. I'm going to keep with Blodcast. Your Blodcast project, which, I mean, Corey, again, because you seem to have the back of the fag packet description at your fingertips, can you deploy it for me?
Escapuzzled is your one-stop shop for all things escape rooms, virtual escapes, immersive entertainment, and tabletop games.
So, who's your kind of like target audience for this?
This is the issue.
Welcome to our world.
The can of worms has been opened.
So this podcast, rather selfishly, was just initially an opportunity for me to just geek out and talk about escape rooms. Obviously, it started as just me and Helena, as is episode 1, us just chatting shit. And then we started inviting people on and chatting shit with them as well.
And they
but
actually
yeah, for the
come
most
on.
part, which
is the most surprising bit.
we didn't initially have listeners in mind, which seems awful.
I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I say that. I feel like if you're passionate about what you do on a podcast, that then comes across to the listeners and you'll find the right listeners anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you enjoy it, it makes it better and therefore it's better listening. So I do think you kind of have to selfishly put yourself first as well, but you still have to kind of take into account that people are actually listening and it needs to be relatively enjoyable, which hopefully our episodes are, and people keep coming back. So I would assume so. But yeah, I think most of the people that are listening are obviously escape room enthusiasts and other escape room owners, because a lot of the guests that we get on are absolute giants in the escape room industry. People like David Spira, who are just fountains of knowledge when it comes to anything escape room based.
And he was just like, oh, you want contacts? You can have that. He's so incredible.
Yeah.
And just like the people you've had on as well, like Steve Locker.
Yeah.
Just some of the, like, you've kind of got like a who's who of some of like just the most interesting people in the UK in the space going through.
So we went from, well, Corey has been absolutely incredible to the point, like, the last, and you have, like, I have no idea how he's got these incredible guests. And he's just, it's all through word of mouth, just messaging them and hoping that they respond.
Lifts up firearm.
Yeah, holding people up.
No, he's got these guests in the back of a van. That's how.
So somebody's dog in a cage. Yeah,
It's a Labrador.
It's an absolutely incredible job. And like we were invited to like Summit 24, and that just allowed us to essentially meet Disney Imagineers and
oh, cool.
The people behind Punch
we
Drunk.
met Punch Drunk.
Oh yeah.
And what is it? Correct. Dogs. Like we already had a conversation with them before the event, and yeah, it was just incredible. I reconnected with more escape room friends that I forgot about. Like we'd ran games together for years, and they moved on, did a PhD in escape rooms. Essentially, really, really cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, where does one do a PhD in escape rooms? I feel I need to jettison most of my career plan.
So she did a PhD in adult learning. And because she is amazing. Oh, yeah. She basically did a PhD around using escape rooms to teach adults. Oh, what was it? Like, I literally had seen her for the first time in 5 years. In October.
It was just on the train down. She
on the
happened to be
train
sitting
down.
like
And I was
opposite
like,
and messaged Helena saying, "You want a train to London by any chance?"
Who wants to know?
And then we sat next to each other. She's like, "What are you doing in London?" I was like, "I'm going to a summit." And she was like, "I'm going to a summit too." So yeah, now she lives in London and hang on, you don't need to include that lives in London. That makes no sense.
No, but I mean, if you
her
put
postcode
address
is
as well.
SW.
She does sex education via like puzzle play. It's really cool. Yeah, I know.
So those lust escape
Excuse me.
rooms are talking
Wait a
about.
second now. Just watch our listenership has tripled after that.
Yeah. Tell us more about puzzle play.
Oh, is that the escape room version of bondage?
It's like a chastity belt, but it's
Puzzle
got
play.
like Morse code. Got one of those Morse code tappers on the front of it.
Don't shine the black light.
Lady Chastity's belt, didn't that close?
But yeah, like looking at your previous episode, looking at the people you've had on as well. Like you've got Scarlet Envelope, You've had Steplock, Dave Spy. You've got Chris Waters, the architect, as well, which that's on the queue to listen to. I'm looking forward to that because the stuff that Constructed Adventures does is incredible.
Is this the otter guy? Is that Constructed?
Chris Waters.
Is that Chris Wallace?
Yeah.
Okay.
The issue with Helena's memory is we recorded all of these episodes like 3 months ago, and they're now just getting like edited together.
They're coming out now, and I'm like, is this the otter?
Who?
We did like
The Infinite
a
Escape
month of recording sessions where we recorded, I think, 9 or 10 episodes.
Yeah.
over the
Jesus
month.
Christ.
We both had like super mad diaries.
One of which was yours, which was 4 hours long.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Again, not mine and Jamie's fault.
We tried. We
It would have
can't
been 40
contain him.
minutes long if it was just me and Jamie.
But no, we've had some absolutely phenomenal guests on, and it's such a strange thing. Like, there's very much an imposter syndrome thing that goes on. Like, even going down to the summit and having people walk up to us and go, "You're from the Escapuzzled podcast." It's like, what?
What?
Yeah? You know us?
Someone recognized me from my laugh, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Or just people like sending messages to people and being like, "Look, we'd love to have you on," and they're like, "Oh, I'm an avid listener. Like, I'd love to come on." And I'm like, "You sure we're talking about the same thing?" Like, you sure we have listeners?
I mean, we got the
showing
same
up on the Spotify metrics.
I got the same thing when we chatted to you about coming on. You're like, "Oh, yeah, I've been going back and listened to your old episodes. I've listened to loads." You're like, "Why would you do that?"
"You're funny."
You guys, I mean, I might have mentioned this. You guys, along with David Spira, were like two of the main reasons that I started a podcast. Obviously, listening to Escape Room podcasts, you guys in the UK, and then obviously David Spira are two of the sort of bigger podcasting names in escape rooms. Obviously, other than like
Just surround that
It
one and just
rolls,
play that
yeah.
about 5 or 6 times at the top of the show. And we're going to put that into every promo from now on.
and I learned everything not to do.
John,
Well,
John,
if these
cut that
clowns
bit.
can do it.
No, but seriously, I just want to thank you for everything that you guys have done previously, because I wouldn't have started a podcast otherwise had I not have listened to it and realized that escape room podcasts can actually be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Oh,
It does feel like a really underserved community in so many ways, because it's unlike so many other industries where there's a lot of kind of like related industries and a lot of, I don't want to say like parasitic ones, but there's a lot of kind of interconnectivity between things, so it's all sort of relatable. The whole escape room space is kind of unexplored, particularly in sort of meta entertainment. So I think, for example, the episode of Inside Number 9, where they did escape room, obviously there's been the escape room movie, but other than that, it hasn't really entered yet the point where it's kind of one of those sort of metaculture things where it's just sort of embedded into everybody's psyches. You can still get somebody to do their very first escape room and they have absolutely no idea what it is. And there are people who are absolutely perplexed where if you would say, "Oh, I work in and around escape rooms," or I GM escape rooms, they would look at you with a blank expression
Yeah.
and a little bit of dribble would come out the side of their mouth because it's such a completely alien concept to them.
Imagine doing this job for 5 years and nobody knows what escape rooms are. So I'm going to be like, I just lock people in a room.
It's the same with coaching parkour. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm a parkour coach," and they're like, "What?
Casino Royale? Oh, yeah, back on.
Oh,
Yeah, you know this." Yeah, that's the one thing. My goodness, people coming up to me and being like, "Parkour," and I'm just like,
From the... I will interject there for the where you said that they've not really hit the public consciousness, because there is a slight trope that's happened over the past couple of years where every sitcom will have an escape room episode, just like they'll have a musical episode. They'll have a Christmas special, a Halloween special.
yeah, same with like Big Bang Theory and stuff like that.
It is. So if you go, there's an immersive creator called Laura Hall who has done, I think it's on Letterboxd, where she's done a list of escape room episodes in pop culture and started
really
to sort of review them. And there's quite a few. Once upon a time, I had an idea of having a podcast that talked about these, but reviewing them as escape rooms rather than as pop culture. But there's loads. So I think that's as far as it's gotten so far, where it's still gimmicky, where a sitcom will go, "Let's do an escape room," and it'll be funny, and it'll be hijinks. But yeah, you're right. It's not yet ubiquitous enough that everyone knows about it, which is good, I suppose, because if there's a lot of people that have still yet to do the first escape room, there's a lot of customers there.
100%. But there's also a lot of potential for really shit escape rooms to crop up from people that think they know what they're doing, and then
How do the chain escape rooms stay open? It blows my mind.
franchises, man. There are some fantastic franchise games, though, I must say, just to redeem that.
Just not in Milton Keynes.
Wow.
Is anything good at Milton Keynes?
Yeah, me.
Okay.
And actually, there's three fantastic escape rooms in Milton Keynes. There's the ones based in Wolverton. They have a really good train carriage based one, which is excellent. A decent witchcraft wizardry, and there is possibly one of the best I've actually done in Bletchley Park, which is around a World War II bunker and themed around Bletchley Park, which is really, really excellent. And it's just tacked onto the side of a go-kart thing. It has no right to be as good as it is, but it is. Okay, right. Last couple of questions just about the show. So, obviously, you've said you've not managed to book Neil Patrick Harris. You're too good for him. You think he can get himself fucked?
And here he comes.
And here he is.
Bring him into the call.
Okay, so apart from MPH, who do you wish you could book?
I mean, celebrity that we just want to like meet, or
I think completely down to it. Like, who would you want to have on the show? It's still your show.
Mm-hmm. I think like Ryan Reynolds, and it could be really funny. What?
You know, that escape room owner and creative, Ryan Reynolds.
No, but how good would he be? And I bet he'd love an escape room.
I'm going to check my Notion because I'm pretty sure I've got a list of podcast guests that I'd like to get on.
Probably actually research this, and I'm like, I'd like to meet Ryan Reynolds.
I think that I'm the same though, because he feels like the kind of guy who'd have a good time in an escape room,
Right.
or like would be fun to do one with.
Yeah.
I know the Marvel team did an escape room that was like Marvel themed, and it's a YouTube video of like the actors going into an escape room and doing it together, which is pretty cool. One for me, both escape room adjacent and just like as an actor and magician in person, is Henry Lewis, who's the guy behind Mystery Theatre. Obviously the play that goes wrong, and obviously Mystery Agency, the actual escape games. That's definitely a big one for me.
He owns an Infinite Escape Room pin.
Does he?
Yeah, I met him at UK Games Expo and gave it to him when he signed one of my puzzle book and asked him to be on. But, you know, these theatre types, very busy.
We sent him a message and he was like, yeah, I'd love to.
Well,
And
you're on
followed
this
us back on Twitter, and then we've not had anything else.
What if we just combine forces and get them all on together? An epicenter of theatre magical folk. We'll have Neil Patrick Harris, we'll have Henry Lewis, we'll get them all on together.
Jamie, you would be like a lawn sprinkler of jizz. You would not know what to do with yourself.
There would be nothing left of me by the end of that evening. I would just be a husk.
We've grilled the living shit out of you. We should probably do a quick retro on the rooms, what we just did.
Oh, yeah.
So
What a good idea.
we are coming not so much hot now, not even lukewarm, cooling, tepid. We're coming tepid off the back of our AliExpress ISS rooms, the first of which was Jamie's, which was the engineering room. Jamie, do you want to just quickly tell us about it? Tell us about how we did, and critically, what the fuck we missed in it, and how we fucked it up.
Yes. Well, you didn't fuck up. That's number one. You did it faster than I expected. And
that's what Laura keeps on saying.
And bypassed a lot of stuff that I'd put in because I didn't think that you would do it in that order. So for listeners, for context, you're in the engineering bay and you have to log into the computer. And then once you've logged into the computer, you then have to interpret some lights on the desk to then deposit a specific item into an engineering hatch, which will then release the doors. You did things at the start. You did things as I expected. You navigated about the room, and what in my head would have happened was that you'd look around the room, you'd investigate all the different sort of machines, you'd press buttons, you'd go to this touch screen that was in this cabinet, which would then prompt you to scan items. You'd scan the items, you'd get a bunch of descriptions, and then at some point you would go to the hatch, and you would unlock the hatch. When you unlock the hatch, I started a timer that would then, after a certain point, start to do emergency fuck-ups, sort of Among Us style. You'd have to solve those fuck-ups by jettisoning certain items. As you did that, you would then limit the pool of items you had at your disposal, which meant that during the sort of finale, once you'd solved that audio puzzle to get into the computer and had that final set of lights, depending on what items you had left, you get a different set of lights, a different outcome. A different item would be needed. So there was always a way to solve the room, depending on what items you had.
Okay.
But depending on what you threw into the hatch would change the ultimate outcome. So I'll give you a
technically, when we panicked about throwing something in the hatch, we were on the right lines.
Even though
we sidetracked ourselves.
You bypassed one of the puzzles, I think. So the audio cue puzzle, you figured it out. It was all based on the interaction with the room and the sounds they made in a certain sequence. That was fine. When you got into the computer,
I'd love to see that in a real room. Such a beautifully fun puzzle, especially for people that love tactile sounds. And yeah, great.
The inspiration for that, by the way, came from a clip from the show. It's either Game Changer or Make Some Noise on Dropout. It's on YouTube, where one of the voice actors imitates the world's most complicated sniper rifle. And it's just, he's a wonderful like voiceover sound effect artist. And he does all these sort of welcome, boop, boop, doo-doo-doo-doo. All of those are taken from
I've heard it.
thing. It's incredible.
So good.
But yeah, once you've done that, you go into the computer, and the engineering manual that you had told you what the lights meant to jettison a flammable item, a nickel-based item, and a power bank item. The other ones then said you need to deposit something that has 2 of those attributes. You could work out based on the lights that came before it which 2 attributes you needed to have, because one of the warning signs needed flammable and nickel. One needed flammable and power bank. One of them needed power bank and nickel. And depending on what items you had left, I would then change the warning lights that you got. So there was one of 3 possible endings, depending on what you jettisoned. The trouble was, you did everything except for interact with that touchscreen, which meant that I couldn't start any of the emergency fuck-ups. Because you hadn't.
So what you're saying is we saved you a lot of hassle.
Yeah,
you also caused me a lot of panic. And I
did wonder, because you were frantically scrolling through that document at one point. I was like,
I was like, fuck. You can see the panic in my eyes when I realized, shit, this, like, the time was ticking up. I should have activated one of these little side quests, but you hadn't got all the information to be able to do it. So that's on me. That's my bad. I should have gated it a little bit better to streamline into that. I'll quickly go through the descriptions of I think 2 items you didn't see. One of them was on the actual box where you got the 12-volt battery. You'd opened it before you'd examined it. And on the box itself was a dog wig. And it said, "Who wants to be the fanciest bitch on the runway? You need look no further. This stylish bob, available in strawberry blonde, auburn, ginger nuts, or just plain orange, clips easily under the chin, held in place with powerful nickel magnets. Give your pooch the glam look, whatever the weather. Please do not use in hot weather, as there have been a few isolated incidents of a combustible nature. Flammable." And the other one that you didn't see because you didn't interact with it was on the chair. I'd mentioned that it was oddly plush.
Yeah.
Because it has a carpet toilet seat cover on it. And the description was, "Nobody wants to put their pristine moneymaker on a cold, hard circle of plastic. It's a bathroom, damn it, not a gulag. Give your tushy the royal experience it deserves with these nickel-plated fibers that are guaranteed to turn your daily movement into a daily moment. Product recall. Due to incidents involving static charges from mobile phones and third-degree burns, all carpet seat toilet covers are currently on sale have been recalled." So every item had 2 attributes, and you could jettison them. So depending on what you had left, if you'd done it in the way that in my head it would be, no, it's my fault for not doing it, for not like gating it properly. The main one, if you had the electric toothbrush or the chicken safety harness to deposit, it would unlock the doors and activate the deadlock. The looting people would go through. If you'd gotten rid of both of those, because every 5 minutes there would have been a fuck up to deposit an item, so you could have lost those. If you'd had 2 other items, it would have activated the total system failure. Self-destruct sequence would have been initiated, and that would have been your
peril for the next episode. The alternative one then, depending on what items you had, would have been to reverse the magnetivity of the space station, which would have increased gravity.
That really would have been a tricky fuck up.
Yeah.
Between our 2 rooms.
So as soon as you said that gravity was not a thing, I was like, oh shit, they chose well.
So you
flick the dart, and it immediately hits the floor. Right.
So you did
The
brilliantly.
panda is crushed under the weight of its own girth.
So yeah, you did brilliantly. I just hadn't banked on you doing things in a different order because, just I'm getting old, I suppose.
I thought it was a solid room.
Yeah,
thought it was a
I
solid
really
room.
enjoyed
think
it.
I just massively fucked up in that I completely tunnel visioned on a few things and forgot all the other bits that were in the room.
It's fine. I convinced myself that the hatch was a scanner, and I was like, just put the Donald Trump thing in it.
I think in retrospect, what I should have done was that when you tested the hatch out by putting that in there, it disappears. No matter what you do, the item disappears. That indicates, oh shit, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to explore the room, get all the information, and that might have helped then. And every time you do that, no matter what the context is, you always lose an item.
Did we get it back?
You didn't know. Well, only when the lights were at a certain sequence, when you deposited the right item, it disappeared. I should have done it that no matter what, it disappears.
Okay.
The idea was to instill that.
I think that would
sense
have been
of
way
peril.
worse because we'd have probably just put everything in the fucking hatch and then we'd have nothing in the room.
Congratulations, you are now in Shit Creek.
Yeah, you'd have been like, oh, you find some nickel and a battery.
You have no. But yeah, you guys did incredibly well. I think it was just I needed a little bit more. Just to gate those things better, that you went through things in a slightly more railroady order than I didn't anticipated.
When you'd initially said that the chair was on rollers or some sort of track system or something, I was like, oh, the chair's going to move out the way. There's going to be something underneath. So I was immediately fixated on the chair, but evidently not enough to be like, what's that toilet seat doing on top of it?
Yeah, this is...
As soon as I heard that, I was like, fuck, there's gravity in this room. Fuck.
No, the chair is on the floor, not the ceiling.
This is one of the perils of doing an audio-based escape room, though, I think, is that the things that you say, in an escape room, you'd see them and you'd know if something was out of place. That's the point. We look for patterns. We look for things that don't fit those patterns. But when you're describing it as in a D&D adventure, the things you say are really powerful, and the things you don't say and how you say it. So it's really an interesting dance of trying to be non-plussed. And Mike's really good at this, of sounding really non-plussed about an item
That'll be the
really,
blues.
Really important
to your survival. So Mike has a good track record of sneaking things into the intro, and you don't think about it.
This is one thing that we discussed with one of our previous guests, who will be our most recent previous guest, but when this is aired, will be months away. Mia Leary from Cloak and Dagger runs an online escape game, but it is D&D-esque in that you control her clicking through the game.
Nice.
So if you were like, oh, I'd like to look at the table, she'd be like, great, what would you like to look at about the table? Because it's not specific enough to be like, I'd like to look in the drawer or I'd like to look underneath. And again, as you mentioned there, if you go into an escape room and you look at a bed, sure, you're just looking at a bed. But if you specifically say, I want to look under the bed, or I want to look within the sheets, or I want to look in the quilt, it's a different thing altogether.
It's like that point and click adventure kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait, there's an option here to click the bed. Of course I'm clicking the motherfucking bed.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with those point and click adventures, though, is when your arrow goes over it and it turns from a click to a finger.
To a hand, like a fucking yes.
Yeah, it's just me going like this across the screen very slowly until I've got something to click.
Yeah, signposting in audio-based escape rooms is difficult.
Right.
It's a subtle art.
And we're not subtle people.
But you did brilliantly. I think you nailed it. I think if I did a bit of backpedaling when you were about to do the sequence, I think my timer had gone on for about sort of 12 minutes and you hadn't yet interacted with a scanner. So I kind of had to force you to look at it by initiating an emergency fuck up. And then you did the sequence as normal and that was all fine. But
fair play for
you did brilliantly.
Figuring that out in the moment.
There's a lot of that, trust me, when we do these episodes.
From that high benchmark of quality, though, from that, that intimidatingly high benchmark of quality to the lab.
On the lab, I enjoyed the lab.
I enjoyed the lab.
I really enjoyed it too.
I thought it was brilliant.
It was great.
Give us a little summary, Mike.
So the lab was basically just that I had this initial idea of just wanting conservation of momentum, and that being the entire puzzle and having to get it past the space panda, who, by the way, I think I fucked up because his name was Pun Pun, and you were going to check to see if he was a panda, and the answer was going to be barely. And originally it was going to be a grizzly bear, but then Jamie mentioned dog fucking, and I thought, right, it's got to be a traumatized dog, isn't it? That was going to be the whole room, and then I was like, I need to add I'll add like a, how do you get the code? I thought, okay, you'll get the code to the spectrograph, and then I'm in Photoshop, and then I'm doing an exit calendar, and there's a nice kind of circular grid of things, and you draw the number on there. I thought, it
was
just escalated.
lovely. I really liked it.
I really enjoyed it.
I think it had one layer of complexity too many. It was one of those ones where you kind of, you're like, how do they find this? Oh, okay, I'll just add a bit so they can find this. And the next thing you know, you're like, I've added a lot of bits to this.
No,
I genuinely thought I was bypassing the entire thing by being like, well, can I just flick something down there and it'll get through space because there's nothing stopping it. And then you were like, great thinking. I was really
cool. Yeah, I wanted.
Sure?
So the original version had a more complicated thing with the RCSs, with like conservation of momentum, and there would be mass and everything to play with. I was like, this is not fun at all.
So you remember that we didn't like.
Yeah, that's why there were bricks. There were bricks in there for you to send at the keypad. That's why the keypad was so big. So you were given loads of bricks and loads of pens. And I was like, the laser pens will help you aim. You could tie a laser pen to a brick and then put an RCS on it, and then. But you were like, why do I need the brick?
I didn't think of ever turning the laser on to find out where we were pointing it. I was just like, I am confident. No.
I assumed that you were like,
I'm confident I could just flick this in the general direction of a number.
Sleight of hand, magician.
Very dexterous man. Yeah, in my head, the laser pens were very much on the whole time. But yeah,
my head.
Yeah, it escalated as a puzzle.
I don't think it was too complex. I think
I overreacted, let's be honest.
All that effort for fuck off.
So I mean, the flipping of tables was an overreaction.
It was a flipping of a pen. It's fine.
Okay.
I think we oversimplified
Sounded
it.
like the desk.
We did the classic, we'll count the things. Occam's razor in effect, and it just didn't work out this time. I think all he would have needed to have done, I think, and it wasn't too complex, is just something in the text or anything you've got.
Big to small.
That either big to small or like that implied movement between cities. Because you had a map. Yeah. We were focused on the number
missing
of things,
signposting,
the alphabetical order of the different locations. I think.
What was there to signpost it?
Oh, the big to small.
Yeah.
Just big to small.
Just big to small.
Completely missing signposts.
Okay.
Like not so much signposting.
Did we miss it?
A total absence of signposting in regards to that. So it was encoded in the data, so you knew you were looking for the thing in that data, but as to how to actually find it, completely missed that out.
Okay.
We immediately assumed that anyway. We just took it down the wrong route.
Yeah.
The initialization of each line of that note to indicate the different chemicals, though, was brilliant. I love that. Like word puzzles and that kind of thing, like, is what I'm stronger at, but I love it.
I had completely left that known to be. I was like, it's probably more of Mike's wish wash that he throws in the computer. It's like all those letters, all those numbers.
Lot of toss. Can we ask you, as our guest, to crown the Puzzle King? So the puzzle,
again,
the puzzle
this
of
is
the
a
series.
Thing now?
Mike started it.
I started it. I know I've not won it. John has won every single one so far.
Yeah. It's okay. We can take it. We can take it. Be honest.
Just smash my tooth off a metal suppressor.
John's not even here. If John wins the Puzzle King again, not even being here, I will do a murder.
So mine is the favourite. I liked your floating laptop. Very fun. Would not have thought about that. And your Doug Panda. That one for me. Minus points for lack of flags, but very fun. Generally fun game.
It's like, would you like to crown somebody? She's like, no, but I'd like to shame them for the lack of sign.
We do shit sandwiches here.
I support this. Why does my crown smell? Corey, where's your crown going to?
I know you said not to do this, but mine is going to Jamie just because of how unbelievably fun the sound puzzle was.
That was such a good puzzle.
It was a good
I think it would make a lot of fun, as I mentioned, in an actual escape room, sort of messing around with audio and buttons and pulleys. I think it would be a lot of fun. And as somebody who's undiagnosed but definitely on the spectrum, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So it gets the sudden death then, Mike. What happens now?
Oh, have you all got one each, though?
Well, no, I think Jamie, well, you and I are meeting in December, so we can have a fight.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Sorted.
Shirts and shoes off.
Get your
We'll go at
Nerf
it.
guns.
Is it gonna be
We'll get
on
you back
Patreon?
to back.
Yeah, we'll film it for the Patreon.
We'll oil up and bare knuckle fight for Patreon. Be fun.
Yeah, or
Nerf gun standoff. There we go. Sorted.
I'll wear the rest of my clothes, Jamie. That'll throw you.
Bottom down, but nothing up on top.
Right. I'm going to draw us to a close. Corey, Helena, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really lovely having you both on. For people who aren't already following it, where can they find and follow you?
Escapuzzled.co.uk is where our blog is. We have a variety of general blogs. We have reviews of both in-person escapes, virtual, and tabletop, as we mentioned in our intro. And we also have some other fun stuff on there and our show notes for our podcast episodes. Our podcast is obviously the Escapuzzled podcast, which is ESCAPUZZLED. We definitely didn't think this out when we created the name, but it works. So, yeah, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, all of your favorite platforms. Hopefully more platforms soon when I can figure out how to do that.
Well, in which case we're going to draw this pubisode to a close because, yes, the barman has died and the pub dog has eaten his body and is now, yes, wearing his clothes and on his hind legs behind the bar, polishing a glass, looking at us with that slight look that says, the dog revolution beginneth now. So, before one of us gets bumped off by a Dalmatian, we carefully pick up our coats, eye the Yorkshire Terrier in a waistcoat to our immediate right and shuffle very quickly and urgently with our eyes down across the door, as you say, Corey, tipping our hats to the Great Dane, who's now acting as doorman and looking quite fucking menacing now I think about it. I don't remember this being a dog pub when we came in. But I suppose it is now. It's been a while.
It is now.
We walk through the streets to realise that there are no humans left. It's just dogs everywhere. Dogs on their back legs wearing clothes. It's almost charming and yet quite threatening because they look at us with a certain glint in their eye. But anyway, we hope you have enjoyed this episode. We will see you next time on the Infinite Escape Room. Good night and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry.
So who wants a hot dog?
Bye.
Hello, puppy.